We started the Checking In podcast with two goals in mind. First, as bankers, to share cool technologies and financial tools and strategies for businesses and individuals. Second, to highlight some of the awesome small businesses and services that we have here in North Andover. We thank you for listening and hope that you learned something and come back for more. Hello and welcome to the Checking In podcast. This is Amy LaMarche, and today I have a special guest, Alban Celiku. I'm going to have him pronounce his name as well, but he owns the Fresh Pearl MedSpa at 10 Main Street in North Andover. Alban, can you say your name, please?
Absolutely. My name is Alban Celiku. I'm a nurse practitioner, and like Amy said, owner of Fresh Pearl MedSpa in 10 Main Street.
Great. Well, so the Checking In podcast, if you got through the intro, we're here to highlight some local businesses. And I thought, I've heard a lot about, skincare and Botox lately. And I thought, who better to talk to that than somebody who owns a med spa. But first, I wanted to talk about some happenings around town in North Andover. And wondered, Alban, were you at the National Night Out the other night?
Yes, I was able to attend with my girlfriend and our esthetician, Nicole. So it was a great time getting to know the local community and other businesses.
So did you guys have a table out there?
Yep, we brought a table. We had a couple before and after photos, some of our skincare line, and some general information for the attendees to take.
I'm so sorry because I was at the North Andover Merchant table, and apparently I didn't travel far enough to go see you. Because it's always really nice to just see the local people, and it was fairly crowded. Like they had hamburgers grilling, a helicopter landed behind us, they had the fire trucks, and it was so nice to see people out and about and kids running around and so on.
Yeah, exactly. It was good to be around that community as well.
Well, we've got the Fall Festival coming up on September 18th, so make sure you plan to go. Lots of artisans' tables and great food, and I think there's some entertainment and so on, too.
Awesome, yeah, we'll plan on it.
Good. Yeah, North Andover does a lot of that stuff. All right, and now back to skincare and med spa. And so what I'm really curious about is, I'm familiar with a spa in general, massage, that sort of thing, maybe toenail,
Sure.
But I'm sorry, like pedicures. But a med spa is different. So can you give an overview of what a med spa is, what makes it a med spa, and the types of things that you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So just like you said, there's traditional spas that most people think of. They go to relax and get massages and facials. Medical spas, take that up a little bit, take it up a notch, and they offer medical grade aesthetic procedures in the same similar relaxing environment. So some of these treatments include injections to help target facial wrinkles and lines, dermal fillers to help restore volume loss in the face, and along with other skincare treatments that can help resurface and kind of bring back that youthful look that most people are lacking during these days. Especially, living in New England, we're exposed to the harsh winters, and in the summers, many of us forget to wear our sunscreen. So, we take a time to educate our clients and offer many treatments to target their specific goals in mind.
All right, so you are a trained nurse practitioner, right?
Correct.
So that medical background comes into play in a med spa. The procedures are medically oriented, or
Correct. Yeah. So most of the procedures are medical. They're prescription. So not everyone has the able to attain them or also deliver them. And I've held many roles in healthcare. I've been a personal trainer, an EMT, a nurse, and now a nurse practitioner. And helping others increase confidence and sense of well-being has long been my life's mission. But one thing I really love is, no matter what the role is, and helping others, educating them and empowering them to make the right decisions, both preventative and restorative, to improve their health has always been my goal. So that's what Fresh Pearl is about, and that's what I hope to bring to the community.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Again, we could all use that sort of outlook, that positive outlook about. I don't think it's just about appearance. It's about
Yeah.
confidence and healthy living.
Exactly. You know, our skin is our biggest organ in our body, so it has many functions, and most of the time people neglect it and sometimes abuse it. So it's good to kind of just remind people how important it is, and to, you know, provide the same attention you do that to your other, as you do to your other organs like your heart or cholesterol and blood pressure of that sort.
Now, you talk about skin as a whole. I always just think about the face, but there's other areas of the skin that you focus on?
Yeah, definitely. So we focus mostly on the upper face, of course, and then we don't want to neglect the neck or the décolleté, which is your chest area. But especially, you know, in the summers here, we don't want to avoid the hands and the forearms as well, because a lot of aging is shown in your forearms and your hands, and especially when you meet and greet people, they can look at your hand and, you know, see visual signs of hyperpigmentation and wrinkling that can, you know, some people may not like that.
So, in layman's terms, hyper
Pigmentation.
pigmentation would mean like we call them age spots, the brown
Age
stuff.
spots, freckling, discolorations of the skin, yeah. Yeah, liver spots, sometimes people call them.
Good. It's better that you use like layman's terms for me,
Sure.
and probably the rest of the audience.
Sure.
So you can address age spots on the arms and hands, as far as making them fade, or
Yeah, exactly. So just kind of helping the skin be more nourished with skincare. You know, we apply it to our face, which is great, but sometimes we neglect the other areas of the body too. I know most people are only focused on their face, but it's always good to remind them that, you know, other areas of the body are just as important.
So let's say I had an interest in learning more about these various treatments. Um, how does it work in the spa? Like, does somebody come to you and just say, help me? Or, you know, you come with a targeted area, like in general, in a med spa in general? What's the process? How does the treatment work? Does it take a long time? Can you just give me a sense of what a regular appointment would be like?
Sure. I think it's a little bit different now than it used to be, with just the availability of information as well as social media. You have a lot of dermatologists, doctors, nurses on social media doing a lot of education for people. So sometimes people come across these informative sessions and they didn't know it existed before, and then they realize, hey, I have this, let me look or let me learn a little bit more about it. So they'll research it, and then of course they'll come in and research the med spa as well. And we always recommend having clients book a consultation, a skincare consultation with Nicole, our esthetician, so we can do a thorough assessment of their skin and just kind of see where they are in the aging process and what damage their skin has, and kind of formulate a plan based on what our findings are. We don't want to be like a cookie cutter type of med spa where everyone gets the same type of treatment. We have a lot of options for different people, which can be overwhelming. That's why it's important to get an expert opinion and get a good assessment before you buy any kind of skincare.
Okay, that's interesting. I never would have imagined that, but it makes total sense. So it's a general assessment and then sort of a plan of attack, a proposal of, okay, we can address this, then this, then this, and sort of a sequence of events if you want to go through the full process.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, some people have different goals in mind as well, different budgets. There are some procedures that require more downtime than others. So it's all about knowing the patient's exact needs before we can make recommendations.
Is it generally about aesthetics, or are there other health benefits to, for example, I've heard that Botox can help with jaw pain and migraines. Is that something that you're engaged with, or?
Yeah, definitely heard of that as well. The migraine aspect is more still in the medical field and going to your primary care or a neurologist. And migraines are very prevalent in society, so it can be very debilitating, and having a solution like Botox can be a lifesaver for many people. But again, most people go through insurances because it requires higher doses than what we provide for aesthetic procedures, and paying out of pocket can be very costly. But in terms of the jaw pain, yes, so that can also be injected. Botox can be injected in the jaw to help relax that muscle, so at nighttime you're not, you know, grinding your teeth or experiencing headaches as a result of that.
Is that something you might do at the
Yeah, Yep,
MedSpa.
we offer that. Yep. Again, it's not as a higher dose as the migraine is, but it's still a pretty high dose. So we just want to make sure we're picking the right clients for that procedure.
Okay, now, as I understand it too, um, uh, you can't just decide to open a med spa and, put up your sign and do it. There's a lot that goes into the certification and the training. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. So there's many schools and programs out there that offer injectable trainings. Some are more rigorous than others. I happen to take one of the ones that are a little bit more rigorous, where they have kind of an all-day training event. You spend an all day there just doing didactic, and then there's an all-day hands-on training where you're practicing injections, and then you have to come back a couple more times to show the professors, if you will, that you're competent enough to conduct these procedures on your own. But of course, this is all after the fact. You become a registered nurse or some sort of healthcare professional, like a nurse practitioner, a physician, or an MD. So there's that background and that baseline training that you must complete first before you can inject these medications into people.
Gotcha. That's reassuring. So you're very, very well trained individuals. I did have another question that I'm trying to remember. One of the things I wanted to know is you addressed sunscreen. Are there other things that we can do at home to, take care of our skin as youths? That I could recommend to my 20-something kids, but also myself, a little beyond preventing wrinkles.
Well, it's always prevention is the key. That's our whole motto at the MedSpa. We want to prevent something from becoming worse or becoming damaging to your health. So the number one thing I always recommend to clients is just sunscreen, just protecting your skin from damage instead of trying to reverse the damage that has already occurred. And sunscreen, in consideration to the other procedures, is one of the cheapest ways to prevent your skin from aging. So I think everyone, no matter what day it is, if it's sunny or if it's cloudy, the rays still can get through the clouds and cause damage to your skin. So you should always wear a sunscreen regardless of the sun being out or not.
All right. Well, that's a good recommendation. Again, I wish I'd done it years and years ago. The other question somebody had in my office is, are there side effects to I keep referring to Botox. I know that's not the only procedure that you do, but can you speak to that question?
Yeah, so Botox, we use the name as a general term to describe the injections. It's like the Kleenex of the industry, if you will.
Oh, okay.
So Botox is the name brand of what they're called neuromodulators. There's different brands. But yes, the goal of the neuromodulators is to help slow down muscle contractions, which can cause the wrinkles in the skin. There really isn't too many side effects. Is just injection site soreness, sometimes a little bit of redness, maybe a little bit of bleeding from the very small needle. But if it's injected correctly and with a competent injector, there really isn't any downtime or any major side effects. I mean, it's used to be called, lunchtime procedure, where people used to come in during the lunchtime and get it because it takes 5 to 10 minutes. But again, that's after you've done the assessment and you pick the right candidate for the procedure.
And then how long does it last?
Yeah, good question. A lot of people are worried about that because, again, it is most of the time out of pocket cost, and people don't want to spend as much. It depends on the individual, depends on their metabolism, it depends on their activity level, but we usually say anywhere from 10 to 12 weeks. And again, it doesn't mean that it's going to work perfect for 10 weeks and then fall off. It's a gradual fall off around 6 to 8 weeks, and then you start to notice a little bit more movement as the weeks go on until week 10 or 12 where it's completely worn off.
And then back to the way it looked before.
Exactly. Well, if you stay on top of it and get injections kind of on a schedule, the muscles will atrophy or they will reduce in size, and the severity of the wrinkles will diminish as time goes on as well.
Okay, so there are long-term benefits. Yes, trying to reverse the aging process that we'd all love to do. Alban, can you think of any misconceptions that you hear or bizarre questions that you've gotten from clients that sort of made you pause and
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, of course, everyone's worried about the Hollywood look, right? Nobody wants to be frozen and have no facial movement, and that's like the misconception of that's what Botox is. But I think we're finally getting away from that wave of treatments that was popular in the early 2000s, where we went from 0 to 100. Now we're kind of slowly backing off. And, living in New England and the East Coast, we're a little bit more conservative than other states in the West and in Texas. So with a proper education and proper client selection, I think practitioners have done a better job at slowing down the injections and kind of choosing the right client to inject them and having the right goals in mind.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
So you think people were just overzealous and
Exactly.
over applying? Yeah, that is a scary look.
Mm-hmm.
So Alban, you're not going to be doing that to.
No, I will not be doing that.
You
in my
won't have
office.
zombies going around North Andover.
No, exactly right. Because that's the other thing. People. This is such a visual, business. Everything is based on the looks, and if people aren't happy with the way that they look, or if someone sees someone that has that look and they're like, "Oh gosh, where do they go?" and I don't want to be associated with that. So.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll make sure that doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Alban, did you have any questions for me?
I'd love to hear more about the whole program, about Checking In podcast, see what your goals are and where you're looking for this to take off or see where it goes. So that'd be good to know.
Oh, well, you know what? I hope to have you back over time.
Okay.
What for checking in, what I'd like to do is have several businesses and then, maybe check in on a quarterly basis or perhaps a biennial basis and just see initiatives that businesses have put forth, hopefully talk about community events. And the other piece with checking in, since I work at a bank,
Yes.
I thought with sort of check, we have some cool technologies that we institute at the bank, and so I figured I could sprinkle those in over time in the various podcasts. But today we're focused on the MedSpa.
Great.
Well, good. Well, thank you so much
Yes.
for coming today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Alban, Celiku, Fresh Pearl MedSpa, but just general, I'm sure he is open and willing to give advice and support to people who have just questions about skincare and health and well-being in general.
Definitely, yeah. Feel free to reach us out on the website, email me with any questions, and I'll be more than happy to help.
So I always like to thank the team here at North Andover CAM for setting up the mic, the volume, and so on for the podcast. They are here on Main Street with a tremendous studio that's a resource to anyone that lives in town and business owners as well in North Andover. The podcasts are available actually from the public access channel, which is on Comcast channel 22 and on Verizon 24. But anytime you tune into those channels, you're going to see local news and events. They tape the meeting of the select persons, as well as sporting events and elections and anything going on. So it really is a tremendous resource to the community. So thank you again, North Andover CAM. And until next time, I hope you enjoy the rest of your summer. Right. Okay, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.